2010 is the year of Dmitro Firtash. The tycoon, who had generously sponsored Viktor Yanukovych during the election, had taken a risk and hit an unprecedented jackpot. At the end of the year, Naftogaz had returned 12 billion cubic meters of gas to his company Rosukrenergo. Firtash himself, who had suddenly become a public persona, is calling the enormous fraud a victory for Ukraine.
Ukraine has not paid anything, absolutely nothing. In other words, Ukraine has been using gas for 2.5 years and has also been making money on underground storage and on transit. They got their money back. Is that bad?
Let us recall how it all began. In January 2009, the Tymoshenko government had bought from Gazprom the claim to the gas of Rosukrenergo, the daughter of the Russian monopolist, worth $1.7 billion. This is where the 11 billion cubic meters came from, because the price the sides had agreed upon was very cheap – $153. Naftogaz had paid Gazprom $1.7 billion and had put the Rosukrenergo gas on its balance sheet. The gas was stored in Ukrainian underground storage facilities.
I'm not an altruist. I had never held such a niche and had never portrayed myself as a benefactor.
Firtash decided to sue. The Stockholm Arbitrary Court took up the case Rosukrenergo against Naftogaz Ukraine. The arbitrators were probably very surprised by the tactics used by the defendant Naftogaz. First, Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko, hoping to become president and not wanting to quarrel with Putin, had removed any mention of Gazprom and the fact that Ukraine had paid for the gas from the case. It gets worse. The newly elected president Viktor Yanukovych brings people from the so-called group of Firtash to power, having received key positions including control over the security service and the energy ministry. Firtash's lobbyists launched the aggressive phase of the return of the gas to the businessman.
Actually, it was the state that had suffered significant losses.
One by one, high-ranking officials from the Tymoshenko government who had carried out the order to transfer the gas to Naftogaz's balance are thrown behind bars. Both former head of customs Anatoly Makarenko and former deputy head of Naftogaz Igor Didenko have already been in prison for 6 months, while the investigation is continuing.
In there, you're scared to use a spoon, you're afraid to drink from a cup. People suffer there. They come out of there handicapped.
Valery Horoshkovsky, the head of the security service and Firtash's partner in the media business, had made the criminal case secret. Its materials were not available even to members of the parliamentary commission. In June, the Stockholm Arbitrary Court had ruled in favor of Rosukrenergo and ordered Naftogaz to return 11 billion cubic meters of gas to the private company and 1 billion more as compensation. Amazingly, the decision said that Naftogaz had pleaded guilty and agreed to Rosukrenergo's demands.
A conspiracy took place in Stockholm, where the defendant, Naftogaz, instead of protecting the interests of Ukraine, did its best to lose to Rosukrenergo.
The closed and secretive character of the implementation of this major fraud on all stages was the key to Ukraine's loss to Dmitro Firtash. But the people need to know.
What people?
Ukrainians. Naftogaz is a state-owned company.
What should they know?
One after another, Firtash's lobbyists in power easily passed all the courts. First the Stockholm Arbitrary Court, the local Shevchenko Court, and later the Kyiv Court of Appeals. Finally, in late fall, the Supreme Court of Ukraine said the last word. Give the gas to Firtash. Basically, the lobbyists' conspiracy and betrayal of national interest have legally provided Firtash a clad iron basis of court decisions. And although Naftogaz is protected by a special law, Firtash received the gas instantaneously from Ukrainian underground reserves, despite vows by Yuri Boyko.
We do not plan to give away anything. We have nothing to give. The gas balance in the country will be left the way it is now.
What is Ukraine left with? Yes, Rosukrenergo returned $1.7 billion to Naftogaz. However, now Naftogaz's balance has a huge gap and it must be filled, so we need to buy gas from Russia again, only at a price 3 times higher than it was 2 years ago. Everyone won – Russia, Firtash, Rosukrenergo. Apparently, the tycoons' lobbyists in the Ukrainian government did not do this without getting their share. Only average Ukrainians were made the big fools, left completely unaware in an information vacuum.